Hello and welcome to A Celtic World, a YouTube channel and podcast made by Celtic fans all over the world, for Celtic fans all over the world. From Paisley to Pattaya, Fort William to Fremantle. Wherever you happen to be watching from, you're part of A Celtic World. And those are two places very close to the hearts, or at least geographically close, to our two contributors tonight. Paul, who's in Perth. Greetings, Paul.
Greetings, Gavin. I'll be in the mighty port of Fremantle tomorrow night for a bit of music. So Viagra Boys are playing at the Fremantle prison tomorrow night. So looking forward to that. So very timely.
Viagra Boys are playing at the prison?
Yeah, so Fremantle prison, the old Fremantle prison, is now a tourist site. It's not an active prison anymore. It's got a museum. It's got some tourist stuff. It's actually got a youth hostel, which I've once stayed overnight in one of the cells, which was good crack. But in the recent last year or so, they've opened up. There's a big sort of central grassy courtyard, and they've opened up that for live music in the summer. So yeah, absolutely cracking. Saw Primal Scream there last year, and it's the first time I've been back. So yeah, looking forward to that gig tomorrow.
And when they were in the prison, were they saying they just want to be free?
I would imagine. And various other things. It was good crack.
Very good. And not a million miles away from Pattaya is Eddie in Bangkok.
Hi, Eddie. Hi everyone. Here. I'm glad to see everyone again. Glad to be back on. I'm sure there won't be a lot of Viagra needed in that youth hostel part of that place, Paul. I'm sure.
Yeah, possibly not.
Or the prison, when it was a prison. Conjures up all sorts of
the first time
horrible images.
That's the last thing you need.
Monty's obviously not a fan of Viagra Boys. He's already in the comments. He's not keen. So there you go.
He's not keen on the band. Probably loves the product, though.
Possibly,
been relying on it for a couple of decades.
Swedish post-punk might not be his thing.
Oh, dear. Oh, there's Mickey in the chat. Our own Mickey saying, "Morning all, I'm on a train to Bologna." Hail.
Nice.
He won't be back in time for Monday's show, unfortunately, but we'll maybe get him in after that to give us the rundown on what's about to become a famous victory. Or is it? Well, that's what we're here to talk about, among other things. Two massive games screams the thumbnail. And my goodness me, it's hard to argue with that. You know, we've got Bologna and then Hearts. And, you know, I was thinking about it, I'm sure you were too, the differential between the two extremes of what might happen here. Mm. Like if we win both games, we're in business in Europe. You know, we're close. Maybe there. Could well get through. If we win against Hearts as well, you know, we're back in the title hunt. Everyone gets excited. You know, if we lose both, however, it's going to be depression extraordinaire, Paul. Massive two games, eh?
It is. It's a massive two games since the last time we played an Italian team in Europe and Hearts in back-to-back matches. So hopefully they're not as catastrophic as last time. And you could easily see it going. Both of those outcomes are absolutely in play. Look, if we lose both, the season's over as far as I'm concerned. I can't see us coming back from a 9-point deficit. We maybe, but you're really pushing it, and we struggle to get through Europe. We could potentially beat Utrecht and scramble our way through. So yeah, I've completely contradicted myself in space of 30 seconds. So maybe the season's not completely over, but it would be a massive dent. It would be a massive dent at what is already a pretty downbeat and depressing time. We'll come on to transfers, but yeah, this squad needs a shot in the arm and momentum more than anything. So fingers crossed, yeah, we can get a couple of wins.
Yeah, a couple of wins or a couple of defeats, and they will have proven to have been two massive games. Usually when you build these things up like that, Eddie, you know, you get one win and a draw or something, and it's like, or a draw, two draws, something like that. But the potential is there.
Yeah, I think the Bologna game, I mean, I've got to put my hands up. I get up at stupid o'clock every time to watch Celtic. but I've struggled for these ones, the Europa Leagues. I don't know why. I'll get up and watch Auchinleck Talbot, but I've struggled to get up and watch Bologna. God knows what. I just don't have the same enthusiasm for it as I did for the Champions League, where I would get up for those. But I mean, Bologna have actually not a bad record in the Europa League. It's just their league performances have not been very good. I think they've won 3 and drawn 2 in the Europa League. We're on 2 wins and 3 losses, so I think they're about 3 or 4 points above us.
We'll come on to all that.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a tough game because I think they seem to rise to the Europa League games. With a Hearts game, they've got a few people out. Hopefully that will have a little bit of an effect. But from what I understand, they've brought other players in. They've been quite quick to move and bring other players in to fill those gaps. Now, how good those gaps are filled, we don't know until Sunday. But that's going to be a tough game. And I agree with you, Paul. I don't think if we lose that game, we'll struggle to get 9 points back. I think we will struggle.
Okay. Well, the deep dive is coming up later, or as deep as we can in the time allotted, into both games, really. Specifically the Bologna game, obviously, because that's tonight. But I thought we'd start with transfer speculation activity, first of all, before we move on to that, because that's going to colour all of our thoughts, I guess. So, exclusive figures on Thomas, well, we'll come on to his surname in a minute. We're covering the salary until the end of the season, worth around €1 million gross. Celtic have an €8 million purchase option for the summer. Smart deal. Highly motivated and in top shape. Now, I guess this one's a test of whether you're a glass half full or a glass half empty kind of guy, as Paul takes a sip from his hazy IPA. So we'll go to Paul first of all. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you by this guy?
Meh. 6, 7. I'm excited it's a body in the door. You've got to assume he's going to be better than what we've got. So from that regard, tick. Everything else doesn't exactly fill me with confidence. He's played, from what I can gather, across 2 matches. One of them a bounce game. He's played 90 minutes in the last 8 weeks. The last of those was about the first week of January. He has gone badly off the boil in the last couple of years. So it depends. You either get a player who is motivated and wants to rehabilitate his career, and he's coming to a massive club that badly needs a goal scorer, with a manager who's known to be a man motivator. If that all happens, the amount of chances we create, I think, yeah, he could be a hit. Just as easily as we could win 2 games, we could lose 2 games. He could just as easily be a disaster. He's very quickly fallen off a cliff. He started well at Borussia Mönchengladbach after a great breakout season at Sparta Prague. He fell out of favour. There's various rumours about his food and dressing room antics, etc. He went to Turkey. It hasn't worked out there. Now, the one that I guess the caveat on the Turkey stuff is that club's a shambles, and he's apparently due 200 grand euro. So that, I think you've got to treat that in the context it's in. But if he's just bouncing around for a payday, that's really not what we need. If he's a bit down on his luck, that's not what we need. But yeah, I think
if he's a player with everything to prove, that's what we need. He's shown he's a good player. He's been down on his luck, but this is it. He's back. This is his chance.
That's what you hope for. And,
yeah, it's hope, isn't it?
It's an easy comparison to go to Chris Sutton, even though O'Neill was quick to tell us he's not a target man like Sutton. But Sutton's career had badly come off the rails at Chelsea after a massive money move. And we're going back a quarter of a century. But the similarities are there. Big money paid for him at Chelsea, failed to deliver, was on his backside. Nobody rated him. O'Neill brought him in. We all know what happened from there. So I think the hope is O'Neill can do a similar revival job. And if he can, then then this guy could be the difference between an amazing end to a horrible season, and not, like, because we need goals. My biggest concern about him is his match fitness, because he's hardly played. And that comment from Florin, whatever his name is, Plettenberg, that he's in perfect shape. I find that hard to believe given the lack of matches. But we've yet to see him paraded. But everybody, O'Neill's speaking about him in press conferences, so it's a done deal. We know it is a done deal. I expect he'll be announced on socials today, or maybe even tomorrow after the Bologna game's out of the way. But I think he'll start, unless we sign someone else on Friday, tomorrow, I think, or even Saturday. Do you sign people on Saturdays? I don't know. But unless we sign someone else, I think he'll start. You kind of got to start him. If we sign someone else, I still can't believe we've not done the deal for the Motherwell kid, the winger. Get him.
Let's not move on.
But like, so what I mean is, if you can get somebody else in who's actually playing games and match fit, you don't need to risk the big man from the start. You can bring him off the bench.
Here's Mahesh now, who is obviously a man who follows metrics and stats. Eddie, I'm sure you're exactly the same. Sometimes Mahesh's message is, the XG differential isn't as bad as it looks. Just keep the faith and things will turn. It's positive. It's sometimes too positive for people in the chat. But here he's saying something quite different, that his metrics he's way short of Kyogo type metrics. He's also short of Ida type metrics. Martin O'Neill will have to work miracles with him. But let's stop dancing around the subject, Eddie. Let's get to the bones of the matter, which is, how do we pronounce his name? This was put in our chat by David, your fellow member of the world-famous Bangkok CSC. The name is pronounced roughly as Chvanchara, with the C sounding like the CH in church, Van as in English, C again as Ch, and Ara as in Kara, or Chara, making it Chvanchara, emphasizing the first syllable. So, Chvanchara. Can we all practice that? Chvanchara, have a good game.
Chvanchara.
Yeah.
Chvanchara.
And let's say you heard it here first. There's definitely going to be an Chvanchara. I say Chvanchara going around the stadium.
Without a doubt.
Or let's hope so. That'll be fun. So yeah, Chvanchara. We think
Chvanchara.
That's what
or Big Tam, as he might become.
Big Tam, he's already been called. That was like the first comment in the chat, wasn't it?
I think that's a lot easier.
Big Tam. We had Big Tam when
every player we seem to be connected to. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Where's the Big Tam message?
I think the last thing to say, or the last thing I want to say on this is, and people are writing him off already, which is standard for us at the minute. Maybe the likes of the Scottish Premier League or the SPL, Scottish Premier Football League, or SPL, as I heard Martin O'Neill call it the other day. He's still caught in 25 years ago. Maybe that and the the Czech League are about equal, and maybe that's about his level. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of players that they step up to a Big Five league and it doesn't quite work out for them, and then they drop to the back to the tier they were in, and they set the thing alight again. So that's what we've kind of got to hope for. But as you said, Gav, it's more hope than expectation in this one, and that's not really ideal when the need for a striker has been abundantly clear for 12 months, and certainly for the whole window, and it's day 22, and although it's a done deal, it's still not announced.
No, but yeah, hope is what we're living in. Now, what other transfer things are to talk about? There's maybe only other one that I think has any substance at the moment, really. And it's this one, Eddie. Crystal Palace are weighing up proposals from Celtic and Stoke City for winger, here we go again with another name, Jesurun Raksaki. Make a song out of that. Palace are open to offers for the 23-year-old and believed to want a permanent deal or a loan with achievable outcomes to trigger an obligation to buy. So we appear, Eddie, to be a bit more serious about this one, if we've made an offer, made a
Well,
proposal.
it's another one. I think we're going through a phase of finding players that are with names that are very, very difficult to pronounce for some reason. Almost every player we've been connected with has got a name that's difficult to pronounce. Yeah, I mean, this guy's an England under 23, under 21 player, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I guess I always worry when we're connected, when we're also other teams are named that perhaps might have a bit more clout for him. Is he going to come to Celtic and think that he's got any chance of an England manager or an England management team watching him there to future his career? Not quite sure. And I think he's valued at something like €6 million.
Yeah. Let's have a look at his transfer market, shall we? While you're talking. As you say, €6 million there. Former England under 21. He's a right winger, but he's left-footed, I believe, isn't he? Yeah, he's left-footed, see? Left-footed right winger. Can also play on the left or as a centre forward.
Yeah.
I know, I mean, it all checks out at first glance, those details anyway.
Well,
But, I mean, as you say, when there's other teams in for them and this is a pattern, we're going to see if all the other players we look at, it's a worry. But at least we seem to be serious about this one. We're doing something, if reports are to be believed.
The Rangers were interested in him last year from memory as well. Didn't he? Wasn't he? He came up on the Rangers radar maybe last summer, the summer before.
Did he though? This is the thing. Like as soon as there's a player being bandied around, it's Celtic and Rangers are interested. This is classic mainstream media. Throw enough shit at the wall and some of it will stick, and you can say we got that one right. I my view on this, Gav. Like I can't be bothered with this speculation, but unfortunately, we've got to deal with some of it.
But isn't this more than speculation? If we've made a proposal that's being considered, or you just don't believe that story?
Well, who knows? Sorry,
it's better than monitoring, or we're keeping an eye on, or we're watching, or I guess.
But my grievance. I've got two grievances with this one. One, this one's been dragging on for weeks, borderline months. Like we've been connected to this guy before even this window. I think at the same time as Rangers were being connected, we were being talked about in the same breath. Again, were we lumping it in? So this guy's been around for a while and on the radar. My also concern is there's a brilliant opportunity to go and sign the informed player in the Scottish Premier League that plays the exact same position. You'd get him for less money. You can use Stephen Welsh as a make weight. That deal makes sense all day long to me. And I could attempt to butcher his name, but Tawanda Maswanisi, I think. He's looked absolutely brilliant. He was named as the standout one to watch from the AFCON that's just happened. I'd pay whatever they want. He's 23 years old. It's his breakout season. If we don't buy him now, he'll go for silly money in the summer. And my major concern is that Rangers get him before we do. Because
he's scoring goals. He's got 15 goals, I think.
Yeah, and he can play right, middle, and left, which is exactly what you need at Celtic because we're always going to have players being rotated and injuries and other bits and pieces. So a guy with that level of flexibility, for me, that's the Crystal Palace guy that want more money, and he's not playing. Whereas you've got Man Wanhisi, who's the form of his life in the league you're playing in, and would can only there's only upside with him. Like you put him in a better team, with more chances, more of the ball, he's gonna flourish. It's so annoying to me that this deal should have been done in the first week of the window.
Oh no! Just imagine that being a Celtic top on him. That would be awesome.
Yeah, completely agree. 50 scoring goals bring him in. He knows the league. He knows everything around him. He's been there a while. I'm agreeing. It's a no-brainer really for what he's going to cost. They're saying 2.5 to 3. Well,
even 4 or whatever. I mean, there's a limit on it because it's the humility of Scottish football or whatever. They're not going to ask for 10. No one's going to pay that.
I'd give him 4 and Stephen Welsh and say thanks very much. Like honestly, get the deal done. It's harsh to be honest. And they're entitled to play hardball, but our idiots in charge should just be making an offer that's just too good to. I said a couple of weeks ago, we've got the opportunity to buy this title. We've got a mountain of cash in the bank. It's a bit unseemly, but we've got it. Just go and buy the title, pay over odds for players.
It's unseemly.
It is
You
unseemly.
get accused
right?
of it every year anyway.
Well, yeah, but it's pretty unseemly.
Let's do it. Yeah.
You can if you want 3 for him, have 5, right? And bang, it's done. You want 10 grand a week, you can have 15. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, this season's really important for knock-on effects in Europe and all the other bits and pieces. And we're sitting on an absolute pile of cash. You could just buy the title, and we've got absolute morons there that can't even get a single deal done that's not a loan after 3 weeks. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, even they were sitting watching him, right? O'Neill and I think it was Fozzie that was with him, watching him, and then denied the fact that he was actually there to do it. I mean, why bother? Then look at a €6 million guy from Crystal Palace, as you say, Paul's not playing and has scored 4 goals, I think, from inside the box. I mean, it's chalk and cheese, and it's a no-brainer. If you had the choice, you know what you would do.
Chalk and cheese and a no-brainer. Right, fantastic. That's good going. All right. Let's talk about some other ones that are probably complete bollocks for the reasons that you said earlier, Eddie. The other teams that are mentioned in the same breath. I mean, one just made me ROFL practically, which was Celtic to battle Juve to sign Leipzig midfielder on free contract. I mean, Is there any point reading on?
Next.
Is there any point reading on after that headline? Let's battle Juve. What can we offer that Juve can't?
A dysfunctional board and a biscuit tin mentality and a club at civil war. Well, who wouldn't want to come? Nonsense. What was the source?
Loch Lomond's nice,
for a swim, for a team swim.
The source of that story. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I say, we're running through these because I think they're wafer thin mints. So, but they're not wafer thin mints.
You know my view on that, Gav. I waste time.
Well, it is, so we'll not waste too much time. Reports suggest West Ham are leading the race for former Watford winger and Girona starlet Yasser Asprilla. Don't know if you saw this one, but
the price tag.
35 million.
I mean, that's
yeah.
You don't even have to read on; you just see that, and you know the Celtic.
So we're linked with him too. Insane. This one, like you keep seeing reported in places. David Datro Fofana. The player's not part of the London Club's plans, Chelsea, but interest from MLS, Belgium, and other championship clubs. Yep. Do you want to know who, just to flesh out this part of the story?
Go for it.
LAFC are the MLS team. Belgium, you've got Royal Antwerp, and I just said what flipping Ryan 118 says. Antwerped. Never said that before in my life, but I heard him saying it the other day.
Oh, really?
And it took me to the fair. Royal Antwerp. Must be contagious. Anderlecht, Bristol City, Derby, etc. So I think that's another one we can throw in the pile of let's not waste any more time on it. Okay, so we won't. Now then, there's another story that I'll be interested to hear Paul's views on in particular that somebody mentioned in the chat. Don't know if I'll be able to find it, but you know what's coming. Celtic midfielder Arnie Engels. Now he's been talked about. There's been talk that he is wanted by Leipzig, but he said he's happy to stay. Good. And there's talk of 11 million or 12 million, getting your money back on him. And I saw someone in the chat saying, if we could make our money back on that guy, he should bite his bloody arm off. Bite the person offering's arm off. Paul, your spleen may now be vented.
Well, I actually saw a story which was fully in German, but the numbers being talked about were 20 million euros. And now that would pique some of our fans' interest. And as I've argued on our group chat and a couple of other Celtic group chats I'm involved in, Arnie Engels is currently unsellable. And that'll blood boil people. They'll go, oh, he's not delivered. He's not lived up to his price tag. He's arguably our best midfielder. He's 100% a first pick currently. We are the most threadbare squad we've had in about 30 years. If you want any attempt to win this league, there's not a chance you can sell one of your best midfielders and arguably one of your biggest assets. Because if you put good players around him and just ask him to be part of the team, he can only go in one direction. And this is the kind of nonsense we've got to hear all the time. He will never make it here.
It's all about opinions. It's all about opinions, Paul.
He's already contributing. He had a decent season last year, and he should have been part of a treble-winning side. And he's been chopped and changed this season with managerial nonsense. Dropping him for Benjamin Nygren is one of Brendan Rodgers' most baffling decisions I've ever seen. Obviously, O'Neill fixed it and put him back in the team. Nancy messed about with him again, and he's getting his confidence back. He's got such a high upside. His passing's great. His set pieces are great. We haven't properly worked. He's got a brilliant engine. He's a good athlete. He's getting the dirtier side of the game. The defensive side of the game has been growing in his time with us. Is he perfect? No. Is he the finished article? No. If we'd signed him for 2 or 3 million, would people be on his back to the same degree? Absolutely not. This is 100% a price tag issue, which is not his problem, and is the going rate for a player coming out of the Bundesliga at 19 years old. I've said this a million times on the show. I'll say it again. We've got a fundamental problem as a fan base where we want the club to spend money on players, and then when we spend money on players, the first thing that comes out of people's mouth is he's not good enough. We shouldn't have spent that money on him. That is like, what do you want? That's cognitive dissonance at its absolute peak. Either you want to go and spend market rate, which is between 8 and 12 million, or you want to fucking gamble on 2 to 3 million projects, which apparently no one wants. But at least at that rate, they don't get the pelters that Engels gets. It put right players around. We've completely badly managed him. We've chopped and changed him. We haven't given him the environment to grow him. The club's been a basket case since he came in, and he's still got potential, and he's been performing. So it was his corner that got us the win the other week from the header from Nygren, and people go, it's just penalties or it's just set pieces. Those are the things that win you matches. Goals win you matches, and he produces goals and assists. So, there's the vent. If you could get 20 million for him, and you had 2 or 3 players coming in behind him, as a functioning club should have, sell him. Absolutely no issue with that. We've got no functioning pipeline of talent, so to sell him would be absolute sabotage and suicide.
Yeah, my view is that he's a very frustrating player because he does appear to have absolutely loads in his locker, but we don't see it often enough. And as Mickey's comment there, we need him currently more than the money. Eddie, where do you stand on the Engels? Are you 100% behind Paul, or do you think he's over-egging the pudding a bit in terms of his quality?
I wouldn't say I was as big as a fan of him. But I would certainly agree with a few of the points that Paul makes. The claim that he's the best midfielder we've got I could probably give you that, given the fact that the rest of the midfield are Frank Rotten at the moment.
It's a low bar. It's a low bar, but
yeah, it's a low bar. So I would give you that. He certainly has got a lot of energy, no doubt about it. I mean, he runs himself ragged every game, as far as I can see. He does have the tendency in a couple of games, depending on what the situation is, to disappear, but not very often. So again, 20 million, I would take him, but only if you've guaranteed that you're bringing a couple of players in, maybe not behind him, not after him, but you're doing it before. You're right. We can't let him go right at this moment. Not with the situation we're in at the moment. No way. What we need really is a midfielder to come in, or even it might even be Engels, different kind of player. But Callum McGregor he's on his last legs. I mean, we need to be I don't know, this is ridiculous to say for Celtic. We need to be planning to bring in somebody to take on his role. No, that's not Engels. I don't think that's a different kind of player.
Oh, I've been talking. Sorry to interrupt you. I've been talking a long time where we should move Engels back next to Callum McGregor. We play a double pivot. play a more genuine 10, which Nigrin can do, Hatate can do. You know, that's arguably Balikwisha's best position, even though he looks horrible. But that would take the pressure off. It would take the pressure off McGregor. He wouldn't have to sit on the centre back's toes all the time. He could sit a bit higher up the pitch because he's got somebody next to him. And Engels actually probably works better from a deeper position because he's got great range of passing. And if he's lying deeper, he can play those forward passes much better. Some of the sort of in behind looping sort of curling passes he's played. It's funny. People stick to the stuff Engels doesn't do well and the things that go wrong. But when he whips in like a deep lying cross and takes out every defender and puts it on a plate for somebody like Johnny Kenny running through and he doesn't finish it, people forget it was an absolute worldie of a pass because it didn't lead to anything. But they just focus on the negatives. But I think we've badly mishandled his talent. I don't think we've nurtured him properly. I don't think we've truly found his best position. And the team's been dysfunctional for a lot of time he's been there. So I think a lot of people will never get over the fee, which is bollocks as far as I'm concerned. And we've mishandled and misused the player. And if somebody can come in and actually find him his right position, and you want 2, 3, 4 players at 10 million, 11 million quid in the team, because then suddenly the burden isn't to the same degree on 2 or 3 players expected to do everything. And that's what Celtic should be doing at this point. But we continue to mess around in a budget end of the market, and we don't supply the squad and the team with good players to make other players. He's still a young player, right? He needs good players around him to nurture him. And it's the best thing about that story I saw is that he wants to continue to play for Martinoneill. And I would imagine if Wilfred Nancy was still here, he would be trying to find a way out. Yeah. So that tells you a lot, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. And he's a young lad. He's still developing, and he's been put through that situation where he's had, what has he had? Call it 4 managers, not really 3, in the space of a few months. I mean, playing him in all sorts of weird and wonderful places, that's got to mess with you, no matter what. Even if you're an older player, that messes with you. We've seen that ourselves. A lot of those players were messed up. The way things changed through Nancy, from Rodgers to Nancy, or from Rodgers to O'Neill, Nancy, and then back to O'Neill again. And if he's happy playing with Martinoneill, then I don't think he'll go. I don't think he'll go.
Yeah. Paul mentions us being at the budget end of the market there, and us as in Celtic, but it could also be said of a Celtic world where we'd be very much at the budget end of the market, doing everything on the cheap or out of my pocket. We're trying not to do everything on the cheap always, so if you want to help us survive and thrive, this message is for you.
Every life is full of stories, and we all know someone whose story should be preserved. That's what an audio memoir is. A record of you or your loved one's life stories, family anecdotes, and poignant memories. We will talk online and then edit the recordings into episodes, accompanied by family photos and contemporaneous images of the past, creating an enduring audio-visual experience. Links can be shared with friends and family, both near and far, who will delight in hearing their loved one's priceless stories in their very own voice. For the participant, this can be a touching, nostalgic reflection. For friends and family, a unique and precious gift in the present, and even more so in the future, where their voice, their laughter, their love can always be there. We all know someone who deserves an audio memoir.
Use the offer code Celtic when you get in touch for a 10% discount. What do you think of that voice over there, Paul? You recognise that voice?
Yeah, it's our one and only Dano. Obviously, it's he's done a fine job. Obviously, yeah. He was asked over me, so yeah, slighted somewhat. But there you go.
He was what?
He was obviously asked and hired ahead of me, so slighted somewhat there.
Dano is a voiceover artist, even though you've got a tremendous tone yourself. You can be on the next one, Paul.
I'm seeking voiceover work myself, so we'll see where that ends up.
Is that right?
I've talked about it. I've not done anything about it yet, but
interesting.
I've got a mate who does some voice acting, and he reckons the Scottish accent would be in reasonably good demand. So to be continued.
All right, great. Now then, what's up next? Oh yeah, I suppose we better talk about this a little bit, but and I know what the response is going to be. Daily Record did this interview, Keith Jackson and everybody's favourite Ryan Stevenson, talking about how he's seen a change in Martin O'Neill's demeanour. And they said he was looking angry. He's getting angry at the situation. First of all, I mean, Ryan Stevenson, look at the face tats on him. Face tats. That's one thing would put me off. Must be getting old or something. But anyway, Eddie, Martin O'Neill's demeanour, has it changed with regard to the transfer window?
Well, I think we've mentioned before on here, and I've mentioned before in other conversations, it would be nice for Martin O'Neill to move away from the daft old granddad comedy, because that's done and dusted now. We need to.
We have to be careful, Eddie. We had this conversation on the last show, and there was a lot of people in the chat were furious that we should even begin to approach being critical or worrying about what might happen to Martin O'Neill if he keeps this line going, because fans might turn on him. And then half the chat was full of people saying, how dare you? How absolutely dare you?
I don't think fans will turn on him. I just think we can all see the situation in front of us, and it's a serious situation. So I get it. Lighten it a little bit. Lighten it for everybody every now and again. I get it. But at the end of the day, it takes away from what the serious situation is. I feel that he's being used a bit. And to go back to what Ryan Stevenson was saying, I think his demeanour has changed a little bit in the last couple of times he's been on. He angrier, I wouldn't say he was angrier. I think he was just a bit more, he seemed to be a bit more thoughtful about what he was saying, and a bit more kind of straight-faced when he was saying it. I don't think that is a bad thing, as I've just mentioned. I don't think it's a bad thing. Martin O'Neill can do nothing wrong for me, okay? I mean, I've been through that year with Martin O'Neill. He's sure an absolute club legend to me. So nothing that happens between now and the end of the season is going to change that for me, in my opinion, of Martin O'Neill. It's just not. But I think what he has to do is he talks about unity and unifying the fans with the club, etc., etc. So I think he has to understand that the fans are not happy. And I think by making some of the comments that he makes and the granddad joke, I think he just needs to slow down with that a bit, reduce it a little bit, and actually focus on a bit more the serious elements of what his job is between now and the end of the season. That's just my opinion. I'm sorry if I'm going to upset people in the comments, but I do feel, I mentioned before, when people like Nancy and people like even Nicholson, etc., call the club a project, it drives me insane. So when people actually kind of belittle things, and he's not belittling, but he's just belittling the issues, then that does get me riled a bit. So I just think he needs to be a bit more serious. But
it sounds like he is then, if that is the change in tone that people are recognising.
Definitely the presser he's just done for the Bologna game, he seemed a lot more kind of straight-faced in that one. Definitely. There was a change.
And it's impossible to argue with this sort of sentiment. He's our only chance to win the league. Yeah.
He's the only reason we're still...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
With the quality of that squad, no business being as close as we are.
So Kev is saying he thinks we can still win the league. Yes, I mean, I think we can too. But like as I said at the top of the show, a lot's going to depend on these next two games. And I noticed the collective haven't called for any sort of game boycotts or anything yet. But that's one other thing that will factor into it. If these two games go badly, then the thought of them calling for a boycott of the Dundee Cup game, I think that'll be a certainty if that happens. Because, that will affect the opinion of the average fan quite a lot, the mood and the anger. Whereas if things are looking on the up, no one will have the appetite, generally speaking, in the short term for a boycott. Paul, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, spot on. I think they will call for it. If probably even if we wouldn't need to lose both games. I think if we lose to Hearts, they'll probably call for it. If we lose both games, I don't think you'd even need to call for it. I think a number of people would vote with their feet and say you can stick your cup ticket up your backside and just not bother to go and not cough up the extra cash. And they'd be well within their rights to do that. Yeah, it's a bit of a precarious one because you're right. Sentiment is absolutely flowing or blowing in the wind. You know, we win games, sentiment's up, at least short term. You lose games, sentiment it hardens. But sooner or later, we're going to have to up the ante if this boards aren't for moving, because the board's hope is that O'Neill in a patchwork window wins us the title, maybe the double, and maybe even gets us into the knockouts in Europe, and suddenly they can go, look at the high headline events, everything's rosy, and it buys them some time and a bit of peace, because most fans just want us winning, right? Or all fans just want us winning, but enough of us hopefully realise that that's a papering over the cracks, and as long as these morons are in charge, nothing is fundamentally going to change for the longer haul. So it's a difficult one for Celtic support, because obviously you want to get behind O'Neill, you want to get behind the team, you want the team to win. We all do. But whether it's now in the run-in or whether it's at a later point, I probably love nothing better than us to just keep winning, win a double, get far in Europe and have this ludicrous end to the season, and we'd all be happy with the performance of the team. But let's be abundantly clear, it would be in spite of our board, not in any way because of them. And then a bit like when we can complain about refereeing decisions after we've won 5-0, that would be the time to hammer home on the board the displeasure, because and to me, if we go on a winning run, after every game we've won, we should be out the front door of Celtic Park, or people that are not us, obviously, because on the other side of the world, but the fan base should be outside the door cheering the team and giving heat to the board, because we've got to keep this pressure up. And it's not a one-year project, right? This is probably a multi-season project of pressure on the board. But until they are either gone or the strategy is fundamentally fixed and infrastructure's changed, we've papered over the cracks for a decade. Good manager hires in Brendan and Ange and Brendan again, and now Martinoneill have papered over the cracks of the absolute shambles that the running of this club has become. And it's only going to continue to spiral downwards if we don't get change, or at least a change of strategy.
Yeah. Eddie, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I know that it's an old cliche to say that when we're winning, nobody looks behind the curtains and all that sort of stuff. We've got to keep opening the curtains wide and really showing it.
Oh, Eddie's connection's gone. I thought he was going to start singing Elbow there.
I was thinking exactly the same. He's throw the curtains wide. One day like this.
One day like this a year will see me right. That's such a depressing attitude, you know, like one sunny day a year is all I need. Not us, clearly.
No, but that's obviously the feeling in Manchester and a lot of the British Isles, I would imagine.
Yeah. Right. Let's move it on then, Paul. Hopefully Eddie will come back in a second. Okay, Bologna. That's what we said we're going to talk about. Subject to time. We've still got a fair bit. How good are Bologna, Paul?
I'll be honest, and this is the problem, Gav, with having an actual paying job as well as this. I haven't looked a lot at where Bologna's current form is.
Right,
but
well, it's on screen.
But they're a good side, right? They, you know, any team that's sort of mixing it in Serie A and the sort of mid-table is a decent side. Is sort of, we touched on earlier, I think Eddie mentioned it, is they've, or maybe you did, they've punched above their weight in the Europa, and you know, if they're, you can see why they would do that, right? You know, you get a bit of a run in Europe. I don't think they're in any danger of being in the mix at the wrong end of the table of Serie A. So they've got an ability to push on. And in that league, there's some great teams in that league still. Obviously, it's not quite got the finances of England for sure, and Spain, and even Germany. But there's some great teams and great clubs in that league. So it's easy enough to lose a few games in that league. I think over the years they've recruited well. Obviously, Lewis Ferguson is on the books. And yeah, they've done pretty decently. There'll be a challenge. Obviously, our record away isn't great. You would say that whilst their form at home in the league has been a bit patchy, it's probably not as bad as Feyenoord's when we went to play them, and we pulled a performance and a half that I don't think any of us expected that performance. But O'Neill managed to, and the players got it all together, and we've got a great result. So we can kind of hang our hat and hope that we might get another one of those, but I think it'll be a tougher game. It won't be as hard as Roma, but we were a shambles against Roma for all the reasons we know about. But yeah, I think it would be a tough game. I'd be more than happy to take a point in this game and hope we can get a bit of momentum ahead of Utrecht. Beat them. We get a point in this game, beat Utrecht, I think we qualify. So a win would be fantastic, but if we avoid defeat, I think it's a pretty good result.
Ron Warrior coming through some elbow lyrics there for you, Paul, if you want to work on that before next week. Yeah, Eddie, I'll just put this up on screen here so we can talk through some of these. Bologna are 13th in the table on 11 points. Celtic 24th with 7. There's the form guide there.
Yeah.
In terms of domestic. So, as Paul says, they've had a bit of patchy form. There's 3 losses in their last 5. A draw and a win. Martin O'Neill says it'll be tough. They're a team that want to finish in the top 8, but we also want to qualify. We know it's a difficult match. We know they haven't been at their best in the league lately, like us, but we want to make the most of this opportunity. And their coach says, we signed off on this competition in a positive period. We were scoring a lot of goals. Now the situation is different, but we don't want to think about that. If we can finish in the top 8, which is what they're going for, we'll be all set. But the goal is to qualify for the knockout stage. Celtic are always a threat, even though they're going through a difficult period. I don't know if you can see this, but here's all the officials for the game. Looks like it's all Greek to me. So, Eddie, would you take a point, or do you think we're on for a spanking?
No, I don't think we're on for a spanking. I would take a point. Yeah, their last game was against the 17th team in the league, and they lost at home. But I think I mentioned earlier, I think Paul reiterated it again. Their form in the Europa League is much better than their league form, albeit that they're sitting 8th in the league. But I think Fiorentina are 17th, so that was their last loss.
You're right, Eddie. But the 3 previous losses were Inter, Napoli, and Atalanta. So we've got to take it in context. Those 3 sides would, on current form, would gub us. So I don't think we can be too concerned about that.
Yeah, I think even with the way we're playing at the moment, I think we could go there and hopefully get a point. It would be nice to do that. And then with a bit of, I think we need 9 or 10 points, I think, at the moment, and depending on what other results are to qualify.
I think 11 gets us. 11 gets us there for sure.
Right?
And 10's a maybe. I think you'd be very lucky to get in with 9. So that's why I'm saying, like, you could lose this, beat Utrecht, and 10 might scrape us in, depending on how other results go. But I think you need 4. I think you need 4 points to be sure. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I'm saying a draw and a win is probably it's a good outcome. If we can win both the last 2 games, amazing. We're definitely through.
Yeah, agreed.
Sorry, I was on mute. Quick look at their stadium. See where we're off to. It's due for a big revamp, but it's said to be one of the most pretty sort of settings. So it's going to look something like that currently. And it's going to end up looking like that. But even then, capacity of 30,000 when they're done. Yeah, it looks pleasant.
100 years old, I think, next year, right? The stadium's 100 years old, I think, next year.
Is that right? Yeah.
And I read.
Yeah. Nice.
It'd
Though.
it'd be a shame to lose that that kind of bit of historic building on the side, which clearly seems to be
Yeah.
The
disappearing.
plan. Mickey isn't in agreement. Mickey, our Italian correspondent.
I don't like it when commenters mince their words. I really don't.
Is that a bolognese joke there? Or?
I think it probably is.
Boom-tish, yeah.
Unexpectedly. Sports Mall, I found this when I was doing my little bit of research for tonight. Bologna versus Celtic prediction, team news lineups. Well, let's have a look at the lineups. That's really what we want to see, if you can bear to watch me scrolling. The Celtic lineup there, they say Schmeichel, Ralston, Trusty, Scales, Tierney, Engels, McGregor, Hatate, Yang, Maeda, Tonekti. Eddie, anyone there you'd like to swap out?
Well, if we had players to take the places, I would, yeah.
Lot.
A number of them that I would take out. I'm not sure about Ralston. I'm really not sure still about Ralston. That lineup's a very safe lineup for our prediction, right? It's kind of, I'll stick to the tried and tested. Engels, McGregor, Hatate, probably. Yang, we've got no choice with. Made, and Tonekti, I would agree with. He showed quite good potential, even at more against Auchinleck Talbot, I suppose. I'd like to see more from him. But I mean, we've got the other Araujo. Is he there? I don't know whether he was signed in time for the European. I don't know whether he has.
I don't
He's
think
not in the squad.
You can't make. I don't think you can make changes until the end of the group. You can make changes between the group stage and the knockout. So he's out, and I think Martinoneill sort of alluded to that. Like everyone that's available and in the squad is there. So, my only grumble or argument was you might make a case for Donovan over Ralston, but you can see why he'd go with experience. I think, unfortunately, as I sort of alluded to earlier, we're so threadbare in the squad that if they're all fit, then that's probably your best 11 that's available.
Yeah.
Sadly.
And what do you think Sports Mole have predicted as the scoreline? Any ideas?
2-1 Bologna.
1-1. In fact, Bologna have struggled in recent weeks while Celtic are back to winning ways under O'Neill. However, with the hosts unbeaten at their home ground in this competition, we believe the boys will be held to a draw. So hands up who would take that on the panel. Did we say we'd all take it? We'd all take it. Yeah. Would you take it, people in the live chat? Or what is the very least that you demand from this game? Before we moved on, here's Franny coming in with a similar quip. Mincy twists out of the bolognese. It's got to be the most famous thing about Bologna, surely. Spaghetti bolognese.
Well, that was the two guys from Daily Record. That was the first thing they did when they landed. Seemingly was went and popped off for a spaghetti bolognese.
That's when in Rome.
That's their reporting.
You got to be done, though. I mean, let's get it from Mahesh. What's his algo saying? Bologna by 1 or 2, but think Celtic can be closer than that if they have a good day and correct tactics. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Take a draw and no injuries, people are saying. There's a lot of talk about. Yeah, we don't need any more injuries.
Definitely with that one, yeah.
Everyone's taking a draw tonight. Go ahead.
I was just going to give you another famous food from Bologna. Mortadella.
Oh yeah, that's the weird spicy luncheon meat. It's probably a class 1 carcinogen, I would have thought.
Peppery or olive linked is the options typically, but And a key ingredient in Anthony Bourdain's favourite sandwich. So there you go.
Is it? Or was it?
Is, yeah. Well, he's gone, but his sandwich is still around. And yeah, it was.
It's been outlived by a sandwich.
Yes,
immortalised.
He's been immortalised by his favourite sandwich.
A bit like the Earl himself.
Indeed. We've really...
See, we're so highbrow, I don't even need to explain that. Yeah.
Culture vultures on a Celtic world.
Please, let's move on.
All right, quickly. Right, let's move on to the Hearts game then. I suppose there's still a lot of question marks over this game because we don't know who's going to be playing for us, and the hope is that there might be one, maybe two new faces if we're lucky. Paul, do you reckon there will be?
I'd be surprised. We don't do anything quickly. We can't even make an announcement quickly. Like, it's clear that Big Tam's in the building, but we haven't got an announcement out yet. So if we can't make an announcement of a guy we signed 2 days ago, I'm not sure how we're going to get somebody in and ready to play on Sunday. So sadly, I'm very much, you know me, I'm usually a glass half full kind of guy with this board. Have beaten me down. No, I don't expect anyone else to be in. But assuming we come through unscathed tonight, and this shows you how badly the season's gone and how far we've fallen, that we're pleased because 3 of their key players are out, and that probably gives us a bit more of a chance than otherwise is the case. So that in and of itself is a massive indictment of the shambles that we're in. But the point remains that without Shanklin, Devlin, and Bangemi, I think that's how I pronounce it, they're significantly weakened. But as Eddie said earlier, they've gone out and bought replacements. The guy that they had the pre-contract, they've managed to get him in. Rogers Mata, I think his name is. They've managed to get him in. They've made 2 or 3 other signings. Now, obviously, they're all going to try and have to hit the ground running, but at least they've gone and done it. They're, they've got players targeted, they've got deals done. So I'm not one of these Celtic fans who thinks because they've been weakened a little bit and we've strung a couple of wins together that suddenly we're going to win this game comfortably. This is it's going to be a tough game. Still going to be a tough game. The one thing about Hearts is they're very well organised. They'll have that baying mob behind them. We'll have very few fans. And we'll have had a quick turnaround Thursday till Sunday, which they have obviously not had to deal with. So any kind of victory on Sunday is massive. And I take it any way it comes at the moment.
I can't hear you, Gav.
Yeah, we've lost you, Gav.
Sorry, there's dogs going mental outside. I keep having to mute and then forget. Andrew Gallet here with a bit of Aussie slang. Gotta take whatever we can get, Paul. I'm wrapped that they've got 3 players out. Eddie, are you wrapped? Is that how you spell wrapped?
That is how you spell wrapped, yeah. That is how you spell wrapped, yeah.
As in enraptured and that kind of thing?
Could be, yeah.
It's a
Who
short.
are the 3 players out? I can only think of 2, Eddie, enlighten me.
I've just told you.
Oh, did you? I wasn't.
No, there is 2 injured and the other one's suspended, isn't he?
Yeah. Shankland and Beningame are injured.
No, Bengami's suspended.
Yeah,
Devlin's
yeah.
Sorry, Paul. What with the dogs and looking through the comments there, I was just sort of waiting for the next silence. So sometimes that happens when you're hosting.
That's all right. With while we were going to do Aussiesms, I did stop short of saying that anyone that thinks we should sell Arnie Engels in this window's got rocks in their head. But I kept my powder dry on that little Aussieism.
All right. Okay. Well, we're coming up to the end of the show. I think that's about it. Yeah. So we don't know about the lineup, but okay. So we take a draw in the Bologna game. How are we feeling about Hearts? Eddie, would you take a draw in the Hearts game?
Not at all, no. I'll go back to what Paul said. Ordinarily, in ordinary circumstances, we wouldn't even be looking at the fact that they've got injured players or suspended players. And we wouldn't be thinking about, let's go to Tynecastle and get a draw. So that doesn't change for me. We've still got to go there and win, and I still think we can, regardless of their injuries or the suspensions. if we start thinking that otherwise, then we really are up sort of going backwards. So no, for me, we go there and we win. I don't want to take a draw at Hearts.
Yeah, I'm behind all of those sentiments, but there's a little part of me, as my wife calls it, that is worried about both of these games. And, you know, there's a non-zero chance that we come away with nothing from both. Paul, can you give me reasons to be positive about the Hearts game? Apart from the 3 injuries.
Well, depends on tonight to some degree, but, you know, one in the door. O'Neill's domestic record's pretty much unblemished. It is unblemished at the minute. We'll go there. We'll go there we'll be playing them in the best setup and mindset and focus that we've been against them all season. So, and I think it's must win. I wouldn't take a draw. I think it is absolutely must win. And I think that focus and requirement will hopefully see us get over the line. O'Neill will have them bang up for it. They absolutely be bang up for it. A good, and if we can get any kind of result out tonight, and you know, if we get a win, I think it's funny how, you know, turnarounds from Thursday to Sunday don't seem as hard if you've won matches and momentum's building. So a win tonight in and of itself is really important, but it's arguably even more important for what it does to squad mentality ahead of Sunday.
Yeah. On that positive note, let's harness that positive energy, as this will tell us.
How's it, bro? Loving a Celtic world. It's fantastic. Definitely worth a subscribe, hey.
Definitely worth a subscribe, hey Eddie. It's fun to see all these things for the first time for you, isn't it? Or maybe not the first time, but you know. All right, so let's round off the show with everybody's favourite game, the Celtic catchphrase, say what you see. Eddie, former or current player, as represented by this dingbat type thing. You can play along at home. Let us know in the chat if anyone's got it. Don't jump in, Paul and Eddie. Just you can indicate whether you've solved it or not. But let's see if anybody else. Sligo Boy says he's only here for the adverts. Well, at least there's not intrusive YouTube adverts every 10 seconds, like on every other Celtic channel. Or adverts for fencing or Sean's Van Hire or NordVPN or Willow's Fencing on the Funds channels. Any idea? Oh, if nobody knows it, it's been solved.
Yeah, I got it, but I didn't want to say. So yeah.
All right. Well, I'll put up John Clements there. He's in. I assume that's John Clements. Paul, can you talk us through it?
Well, I think that's a young Charlie Chaplin, and then Mull, and then the trees are growing.
Well,
Charlie Mull grew.
wow.
Isn't that wonderful?
Excellent.
Ain't that Tobermory? I mean, it's hard to tell them apart, you know. Tobermory's where? In what island? Is that Mull? Where's Tobermory? Might be. Quickly do a Google search there so we don't end on a moment of embarrassment. Paul, it's the Isle of Mull, certainly. Have you been to the Isle of Mull, Eddie?
No, not Tobermory.
I've been there. Bought some cheese. It's very nice. Board apologist, Mull grew. That would have been harder to do in dingbat form, those 3 words. But Tobermory, you're going to tell us, Paul, is in?
It's in Mull. Of course it
It's
is.
in Mull. So it is Tobermory. Dafties. Fucking dafties. That's what you get. You don't come armed with the right information. To be fair, I made this about 6 months ago. I haven't looked at it since. Because I couldn't take the abuse we were getting from the live chat for these things. So we sort of retired them for a while. But now they're back with a vengeance. As are Celtic and as are we, in fact, on the next show on Monday, when all of our questions will be answered. It's amazing, these 2 games, you know, in such a short space of time. So all that remains is for me to say thank you to everyone in the chat. It's been very interesting live chat today, I have to say. And very interesting chat with you two, Paul and Eddie, as always. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Like I say, we'll be back on Monday. Until then, everyone, heal.
Okay.
Yeah.